Did you know you can build a no-code WhatsApp chatbot that nurtures from the machine learning that Dialogflow offers? Let me show you how. Hey there, Nick here from Landbot. So in this video, I'm going to try and teach you how to build a WhatsApp chatbot that uses Dialogflow's machine learning to build a natural language conversation with the user. But before we start, in order to put together a WhatsApp and Dialogflow bot, we need two things. First, a Dialogflow account. By the time I'm making this video, new customers to Dialogflow receive a no-charge trial plan with $600 to spend. But even so, you will need to add a credit card details when creating the account for it to work. And secondly, a Landbot account with the Dialogflow integration available. It's available during the trial period. So let's get started. First, we'll need to create a new agent in Dialogflow. In short, agent in Dialogflow is essentially the bot we are building. So inside the Dialogflow console, simply click on Create a New Agent. Next, type the name and pick the time zone and language for your agent. Now, this can take a few seconds. When it's done, go to the intent section using the menu on the left. The agent's main building components are intents, which help the agent identify what the user actually wants to do. Each intent requires training phrases. These training phrases are all the different ways a user can ask for the same thing. And of course, for the responses, I recommend creating various ones to keep repeating conversations natural. For the purpose of this video, we created a simple agent which allows you to book and cancel appointments, as well as check on business opening times. For the book an appointment, we set as required to know the date and time of the appointment. At this stage, we simply focused on creating the conversational side of the intent, as we will be handling the rest in Landbot. In the Landbot dashboard, simply click on the Build a Chatbot button in the upper right corner of the interface. When the channel selection pop-up appears, select WhatsApp as the channel. After this, you will be redirected to the template library. But don't worry about that. Instead, click on the Start from Scratch button. Landbot's builder is often used to design structured, rule-based setups that don't rely on natural language. But they are incredibly flexible and powerful nevertheless. However, if you wish to rely on natural language inputs, you will need to make a few adjustments. The most important one is understanding the first message from the user. When landing inside the builder for the first time, there is a preset welcome block already in place. We will delete it. Once we do, click on the field, and when the quick menu pops up, search for Set Variable Block. When the block editor appears on the left, set the Create/Select a Variable to Modify field to @welcome and type the value as $, open parentheses, body, close parentheses. @welcome is the variable that stores the first user input by default. By setting its value to $body, we are telling the bot to recognize a free user input on WhatsApp as the first activation message. Now it's time to make things interesting and integrate Dialogflow. Draw an arrow from the Set Variable block and select Dialogflow from the Features menu. Now, for the first step, we will need to upload the Google Project JSON key file from our Dialogflow agent. If you have never done that before, we have a video that goes in detail up in the right corner now, so I won't spend much time here. Simply go back to the console in Dialogflow, open Agent Settings, click on Project ID link. You will be redirected to the Google Cloud Platform. This dashboard is customizable, as you might not see the same here. Go up in the left corner to the hamburger menu. Click on API and Services, and then Credentials. Now, on to create a credential and service accounts. Add a name, role as owner, and done. Now, click on the email located here. In this new section, click on Keys, Add Key, and create a new key. Make sure JSON is selected and created. You will notice a file is downloading. Now, go back to the Landbot interface and upload a file. If everything is okay, the tick sign in the upper right corner will turn purple. Great! Now for step number 2. You need to define what data you want to send from Landbot to Dialogflow. Since we defined that our user input will be saved under the @welcome variable, the setup will be as follows. Step 3 is all about identifying what kind of data you want to bring back from Dialogflow to Landbot. The most important is the variable under which you want to save the agent responses you defined in Dialogflow. However, you can go much deeper by activating Advanced Configuration at the top of the Dialogflow block editor. But for now, we will keep it simple. Once you finish the setup, click Save. You will notice the Dialogflow integration block has 3 different outputs: green, yellow, and red. The bot takes the green output if the intent data was identified correctly by Dialogflow. It takes the yellow output if the intent was identified correctly, but in order to be fulfilled, it needs the user to provide 1 or more required entities, like time or date in the book appointment intent. And last but not least, the red output when the agent fails to identify the intent from the user. Draw an arrow from each output and select the question text block. And instead of a static question, insert whatever variable you choose to represent the Dialogflow agent's response. In my case, @df_response. Save the user answer under the same variable as before, @welcome. Save the changes and loop the block back to Dialogflow. Do so for every block and you're all set. This way, the conversation will always be looped back to Dialogflow. Now, the length of the conversation depends on how much you've trained your Dialogflow agent. So let's test it. So let's start saying, "Hi." Now, I'll directly try to book an appointment. The bot identifies the intent correctly as an intent to make an appointment. However, because there is still 1 required entity missing, it passes through the yellow route. Thus, when the conversation loops back to Dialogflow, it stays within the same intent and asks for the missing entity. Only after both entities are collected, the user sees the confirmation response. Cool! Now, from this simple flow, we can expand it and do some more complex operations. For that, let's use Dialogflow params break. Besides the individual blocks you can use to put together a chatbot, Landbot also offers bricks. Bricks are clusters of blocks that you can save and reuse as many times as you want. You can either make them yourself or simply use pre-designed ones from Landbot's bricks library. One of the bricks available, which is particularly useful when working with Dialogflow, is Dialogflow params. It's a pre-designed system brick that helps you convert and clean the advanced Dialogflow data, such as output context, payload, and query responses, from an array to a format you can grasp in Landbot. But you may ask, how can we use this data to our advantage? For example, if the @IntentName variable equals to make an appointment, you can divert the flow to pass through your CRM or another integration that sends you an email or a Slack notification to let you know about the new booking. In my case, I will use the identified intent and upload the appointment data to a spreadsheet before looping back to Dialogflow. For that, we want to pull the Dialogflow intent. So let's delete all the other blocks in the brick we don't need and configure the one converting @queryResponse to @userIntent. Make sure to create the output variable. The brick proposes a name for it, but you still have to click Create in order to activate it. Also, make sure you have specified the output data you want to convert in the Dialogflow integration block. Apart from this, you may have noticed that the Dialogflow params brick contains a large message block. As the notes inside the brick suggest, it purely exists for troubleshooting and testing purposes. So once you make sure the formula you selected works correctly, you can delete it. Knowing now the name of the intent, it can help you set up additional processes within Landbot using conditional logic. However, there are many other ways you can use Dialogflow parameters to your advantage. For instance, to improve customer experience, you can redirect all intent matches that seek to speak to a real human or with a confidence below 0.6, for example, to a human takeover block. Quick side note, before doing so, you might want to check if your business is open with agents operating. You can do that with this brick. Using a webhook, which is already set up, it can help you direct your customers outside office hours. All you need to do is adjust the opening times inside the webhook to reflect your business. Another thing it can do is improve its data collection. You can switch to a structured rule-based path until you have what you need to minimize natural language processing errors. Also, it can improve user experience by easily adding elements such as videos, images, and files to the conversation and splitting bot answers into multiple bubbles. For instance, let's say your Dialogflow agent recognizes the intent as a request for more information about your company or product. It provides a response, but as your Landbot setup also recognizes this intent, it can redirect the user to a path containing a video or a custom audio message. Once the intent is fulfilled, it loops back to the NLP setup to continue the conversation. To be honest, this video could go on and on because the possibilities are endless. Landbot gives you a unique opportunity to personalize and level up your NLP WhatsApp assistant without adding much time and cost to the development process. It's an opportunity to turn your WhatsApp message strategy into something else. So that's it. I hope this video was useful. I'm Nick, and I'll see you in the next one.